9. In October 1973, age 27. There's a basketball court next to where I live. Not a court exactly. A hoop high up and broken cement. Rocks, broken glass, there's boys at play. The game ain't ballet like on television, it's malice. They smash the ball like they're smashing heads, and you don't want to distract them. You want their eyes on the ball, always on the ball. You want them playing ball, so you get small and quiet walking by. You don't let nothing rattle or shake, you just blend into the sidewalk, into the air, get gray like the fence. It's wire, shaky, partly walling the place in. You walk quiet and soft and hope your heart don't beat too loud. There's a parking lot for cops right next to the basketball. Not the official vehicles, but the cars they come to work in. The banged up Chevys and Fords they drive in from the suburbs, because most of them don't live here no more, but still, even though they got enough money, even though they got more money than they even though they got more money than they make, you don't see nothing smart and sleek. There's just this old metal, bulky, heavy, discolored. The young cops are tight, and you don't want to see them spring loose. Their muscles are all screwed together real tight, and their lips are tight, sewed tight, and they stand straight and tight, and they look ahead, not around. Their pupils are tight, and the dead center of their eyes staring straight ahead. And the older ones wear cheap sports jackets, too big for them, gray, brown, sort of plaid, nearly tweed, wrinkled, and their shoulders sag. And they are morose men, and their cars can barely hold them. Their legs fall out loose and disorganized, and then they move their bodies around to be in the same direction as the legs so that fall down, and they move the trunks of their bodies from behind the steering wheel against gravity and disregarding common sense, and the air moves out of the way, sluggish and slow, displaced by their hanging bellies, and they are tired men. And they see everything. They have eyes that circle the globe, insect eyes and third eyes. They see in front, behind, and on each side. Their eyes spin without moving, and they see you, no matter how blank and quiet you are. They see you sneaking by, and they wonder why you are sneaking, and what you have to hide. They know that you are trash. They have the view that anything female on the street is a piece of gash, an open wound inviting you in for a few pennies, and that you, especially who are walking by them now, have committed innumerable evils for which you must pay. And you want to argue except for the fact that they are not far from wrong. And it's not an argument you can win, and that makes you angrier against them and fearful. And you try to disappear, but they see you. They always see you. And you learn not to think that they are fools. They will get around to you. Today, tomorrow, someday soon. And they see the boys playing basketball and they want to smash them, smash their fucking heads in, but they are too old to smash them. And they can't use their guns. Not yet, not now. Even the young cops can't smash them fair. They're too rigid, too slow up against the driving rage of the boys with the ball. So you see them noting it, noting that they got a grudge. And the cars are parked on gravel and broken glass and rocks, and they should have better. And they know it, but they don't, and they won't. And later, they get to use the guns somewhere. The city's full of fast black boys who get separated from the pack, and you can hear the fuck shit asshole of the basketball players as a counterpoint to the solitary fuck shit asshole of the lone cops as they emerge from their cars, and they put down their heavy legs and their heavy feet into their bad old shoes, all worn, chewed leather, and they pull themselves out of their old cars, and they're tired men, overweight, and there ain't many young ones at all. And there's a peculiar sadness to them. The fascists are melancholy in Gotham. They say, fuck, shit, asshole. It's like soliloquies. It's like prayers. It's like amen. It's like the exegesis on existence. It's unanswered questions, urgent, eloquent, articulated to God, lonely, tired old Nazis. More like Hamlet, though, than like Lear. Introspective from exhaustion, not grand or arrogant or merciless in dissolution. And the boys hurl the ball like it's bombs, like it's rocks and stones, like it's bullets, and they are machines of delivery, the weapons of death, the machine gun flash, bang, 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 each round so fast, so hard, and the ball hits the ground and the boy moves with it, a weapon with speed up its ass, and they're a choir of fuck shit asshole voices still on the far edge of an adolescent high, not the raspy cigarette-ruined voices of the lonely sad men. The boys run. The boys sing the three words they know, a percussive lyric, and they breathe deep, skin and viscera breathe, everything inside and outside their breaths. There's a convulsion. And then another one. They exhale as if it's some sublime soprano aria at the Met. Supreme art, simple, new each time. The air comes out urgent and organized, and with enough volume to fill a concert hall. It's exhilarating. A human voice, all the words they don't know, and the cops, old, young, it don't matter, barely breathe at all. They breathe so high up in the throat that air barely gets out. It's thin and depressed and somber. It's old and it's stale and it's pale and it's flat, and there are no words to it and no music. It's a thin, empty sound of flat despair. Hamlet, so old and dead and tired he can't even get up a stage whisper. The cops look at the boys. Each cop does. And there's this second when the cop wants to explode. He'd unleash a grenade in his own hand if he had one. He'd take himself with it if it meant offing them. There's this tangible sound. And then they turn away. Each one, young, old, tight, sagging, each one, every day. They pull themselves up, they kick the rocks, the broken glass, the gravel, they get a hand folded into a fist, and they leave the parking lot. They walk big, they walk heavy, they walk like John Wayne, young John, old John, big John. They walk slow and heavy and wide, deliberate, like they got 6-shooters riding on each hip, while the boys move fast, mad, mean, speeding, cold fury, and hot motion. You want them on each other. Not on you. It ain't honorable, but it's real. You want them caught up in the urban hate of generations, in Wild West battles on city streets. You want them so manly against each other, they don't have time for girlish trash like you. You want them fighting each other, cock to cock, so it all gets used up on each other. You take the view that women are for recreation, fun when the battle's over, and this battle has about another 100 years to go. You figure they can dig you up out of the ground when they're ready. You figure they probably will. You figure it don't matter to them one way or another. You figure it don't matter to you either, just so it ain't today, now, tonight, tomorrow, just so you ain't conscious, just so you ain't alive the next time, just so you are good and dead, just so you don't know what it is and who's doing it. If you were buying milk or bread or things, you have to go past them. Walk down them streets in front of them, the boys, the cops, and you practice disappearing. You practice pulling the air over you like a blanket. You practice being nothing and no one. You practice not making a sound and barely breathing. You practice making your eyes go blank and never looking at anyone but seeing where they are, hearing a shadow move. You practice being a ghost on cement, and you don't let nothing rattle or make noise, not the groceries, not your shoes hitting the ground, not your arms. You don't let them move or rub. You don't make no spontaneous gestures. You don't even raise your arm to scratch your nose. You keep your arms still, and you put the milk in the bag so it stays still, and you go so far as to make sure the bag ain't a stupid bag, one of them plastic ones that make sounds every time something touches it. You have to get a quiet bag. If it's a brown paper bag, you have to perfect the skill of carrying it so nothing moves inside it, so you don't have to change arms or hands, acts which can catch the eye of someone, acts which can call attention to you. You don't shift the bag because your hand gets tired or your arm. You just let it hurt, because it hurts quiet. And if it's a plastic bag, it's got to be laminated good so it don't make any rustling noise or scratching sound, and you have to walk faster, silent, fast, because plastic bags stand out more. Sometimes they have bright colors, so the flash of color going by can catch someone's attention. The bag's real money. It costs a dime. It's a luxury item. You got change to spare. You're a classy shopper, so who knows what else you got. If it's not colorful, it's likely to be a shiny white, a bright white, the kind light flashes off of like it's a mirror sending signals that there is only one signal widely comprehended on cement. Get me. The light can catch someone's eye, so you have to walk like Zen himself, walk and not walk. You are a master of the urban Olympics for girls, an athlete of girlish survival. It's a survival game for the world's best. You get past them and you celebrate. You celebrate in your heart. You thank the Lord in your heart. You send a prayer of gratitude and forgiveness. You forgive him. It's sincere, and you hope he don't take it as a challenge. Razor sharp temper he got. Not no do unto others for him. If you hear someone behind you, you beg. In a half second you are on your knees in your heart, begging him to let you off. You promise a humility this time that will last. It will begin right now and last a long, long time. You promise no more liturgical sacrilege, and your prayer stops and your heart stops and you wait, and the most joyous sound on God's earth is that the man's feet just stomp by. Either he will hurt you or he will not. Either he will hurt you or he will not. Truth's so simple and so severe, and you don't be stupid enough to embellish it. I myself live inside now. I don't take any chances, resting only in the arms of God. I put myself inside four walls and then I let him rock me. Rock me, baby, rock me. I lived outside a lot. And this last summer I was tired, disoriented. I was too tired, really, to find a bed, too nervous, maybe too old. Maybe I got old. It happens pretty fast, past 18, like they always warned. Get yourself one boy when you're 18 and get yourself one bed. It got on my nerves to think about it every night. I don't really like to be in a bed, per se. I stayed in the lot behind where the police park their cars. There's a big dirt lot. There's a fence behind the cars, the police cars. And then there's empty dirt, trash, some rats. We made fires. There's broken glass. There's liquor to stay warm. I never once saw what it was. It's bottles and bags with hands on the bags that tilt in your direction. New love, anti-genital love, polymorpheous, perverse, a bottle and a bag. You got to lift your skirts sometimes, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to look. There's many mirrors to be used, but you do not need to use them. I got too worn out to find some bed each new night. It got on my nerves, so I was edgy and anxious in anticipation, a dread that it would be hard to find or hard to stay or hard to pay. If I just stayed on the dirt lot, I didn't have to worry so much. There's nothing trapping you in. Life's a long, quiet rumble, and you just shake as even as you can so you don't get too worn out. When I lifted up my skirt, there was blood and dirt. I felt quiet inside. I felt okay. I didn't worry too much. I didn't go see movies or go on dates. I just curled up to sleep, and I'd drink whenever there was that someone gave me, because there's generous men too. I saw many a face so close up, and saw many a man close up, and I'd lift my skirt, and it was dirty, and there was dried blood. I didn't worry too much. Then I got money because my friend thought I should go inside. I had this friend. I knew her when I was young. She was a pacifist. She hated war, and she held signs against Vietnam War, and I did too. She let me sleep in her apartment, but enough's enough. There's places you don't go back to. So now I was too dirty, and she gave me money to go inside definitively, which I had wanted, except it was hard to express. I thought about walls all the time. I thought about how easy they should be, really, to have, how you could fit them almost anywhere, on a street corner, in an alley, on a patch of dirt. You must make walls, and a person can go inside with a bed, a small cot, just to lie down, and it's a house, as much of a house as any other house. I thought about walls pretty much all the time. You should be able to just put up walls. It should be possible. There's literally no end to the places walls could go without inconveniencing anyone, except they would have to walk around. They say a roof over your head, but it's walls, really, that are the issue. You can just think about them, all their corners touching or all lined up thin like pancakes. Painted a pretty color, a light color because you don't want it to look too small, or you can make it more than one color, but you run the risk of looking busy, somewhat vulgar. And you don't want it to look gray or brown like outside, or you could get sad. There's got to be some place in heaven where God stored walls. There's just walls, stacked or standing up straight like pages of a book, miles high and miles wide, running in pale colors above the clouds, a storage place, and God sees someone lost and he just sends them down 4 at a time. Guess you don't. There's people take them for granted, and people who dream about them, literally dream how nice they would be. Pretty and painted, serene. I wouldn't mind living outside all the time if I didn't get cold or wet and there wasn't men. A roof over your head is more conceptual in a sense. It's a sort of an advanced idea. In life, you can cover your head with a piece of wood or with cardboard or newspapers or a side of a crate you pull apart. But walls aren't really spontaneous in any sense. They need to be built with purpose, with intention. Someone has to plan it. If you want them to come together the right way. The whole 4 of them with edges so delicate. It has to be balanced and solid and upright. And it's very delicate, because if it's not right, it falls. You can't take it for granted. And there's wind that can knock it down. And you will feel sad, remorseful, and you will feel full of grief. You can't sustain the loss. A roof over your head is a sort of suburban idea, I think. If you have some long, flat, big house with furniture in it, it's all matching, you surely also will have a roof, so they make it a synonym for the rest, but it's the walls that make the big difference between outside and not. It's a well-kept secret. Arcane knowledge. A mystery not often explained. You don't see it written down, but initiates know. I type, and sometimes I steal, but I'm stopping as much as I can. I live inside now. I have an apartment in a building. It's a genuine building, a tenement, which is a famous kind of building, in which many have lived in history. Maybe not Trotsky, but Emma Goldman for certain. I don't go near men, really. Sometimes I do. I get a certain forgetfulness that comes on me, a dark shadow over my brain. I get took up in a certain feeling, a wandering feeling to run from all existence, all restless, perpetual motion. It drives me with an ache and I go find one. I get a smile on my face and my hips move a little, and I turn into a greedy little fool. I want the glass all empty. I grab some change and I hit the cement and I get one. I'm writing a certain very serious book about life itself. I go to bars for food during happy hours when my nerves aren't too bad, too loaded down with pain, but I keep to myself so I can't get enough to eat, because bartenders and managers keep watch and you're supposed to be there for the men, which is why they let you in. There ain't no such thing as a solitary woman brooding poetically to be left alone. Don't happen, or she don't eat. And mostly I don't want men, so I'm hungry most of the time. I'm almost always hungry. I eat potatoes. You can buy a bag of potatoes. It's almost too heavy to carry, and you can just boil them one at a time, and you can eat them, and they fill you up for a while. My book is a very big book about existence, but I can't find any plot for it. It's going to be a very big book once I get past the initial slow beginning. I want to get it published, but you get afraid if you will die before it's finished. Not after. When it can be found and it's a testimony and they say you were a great one. You don't want to die before you wrote it. So you have to learn to sustain your writing. You take it serious. You do it every day. And you don't fail to write words down and to think sentences. It's hard to find words. It's about some woman, but I can't think of what happens. I can say where she is. It's pretty barren. I always see a woman on a rock calling out. But that's not a story, per se. You could have someone dying of tuberculosis like man, or someone who is suffering, for instance, someone who is lovesick like man. Or there's bestsellers. All these stories where women do all these things and say all these things, but I don't think I can write about that because I only seen it in the movies. There's marriage stories, but it's so boring. A couple in the suburbs and the man on the train becoming unfaithful and how bored she is because she's too intelligent or something, and about how angry she is, but I can't remember why. A love story is so stupid in these modern times. I can't have it be about my life because number one, I don't remember very much, and number two, it's against the rules. You're supposed to make things up. The best thing that ever happened to me is these walls. And I don't think you could turn that into a story per se, or even a novel. If ideas that people grasp as philosophical, for instance, that you can just say, and they provide a framework of dignity because no one's watching. And I've had too many see too much. They see you when they do things to you that you don't want. They look. And the problem is there's no walls keeping you sacred. Nor that if you stand up they are solid, which makes you seem real too, a real figure in a room with real walls, a touchstone of authenticity, a standard for real existence. You are real, or you feel real. You don't have to touch them to feel real. You just have to be able to touch them. My pacifist friend gave me money to live here. She saw me on the street one day, I guess, after I didn't go back to her apartment no more. She said, "Come with me." And she got a newspaper, and she found an apartment, and she called the landlord, and she put the money in my hand, and she sent me to the landlord, which scared me, because I never met one before, a real one. But also she wasn't going to let the cash go somewhere else, which there was a fair chance it would, because I would have liked some coke or something, some dinner or some drinks and a movie or a book or something more real than being inside, which seemed impossible. It seemed not really available, and it seemed impossible to sustain it, so it made more sense to me to use the cash for something real that I knew I could get, something I knew how to use. I started sending her money back as soon as I got some. I put some in an envelope and mail it back, even if it was just $5. But she said I was stupid because she only said it was a loan, but it wasn't, and I didn't need to pay it back, and everyone knew that, which is my weakness. How everyone got to know things, but I don't know them. I can't think of any stories about pacifists that aren't true. There's nothing imaginary about walls or eating. Nothing fictive, as it were. But more especially, there's nothing imaginary about them when they're missing. My walls are thin. Yay. Yeah. I wish they were mine. Nothing's yours. God hurts you if you think they're yours. In 1 second of bad thought, you can bring evil down on you. The walls are thin. I dream there's holes in them, and I get scared as if it's not really inside. There's not much food, and I know it ain't mine in any meaningful sense. You're supposed to make things up, not just write down true things, or sincere things, or some things that happened. My mother, who you can't make up either, because there's nothing so real as the one named me Andrea, as if I was someone distinct in particular. She made a fiction. I'm her book. A made-up story written down on a birth certificate. You could also say she's a liar. On such a deep level, she should be shot by all that's fair, deep justice. If I was famous, and my name was published all over the world, in Italy, and in Israel, and in Africa, and in India, on continents and subcontinents, in deserts and ancient cities, it would still be cunt. To every fucking asshole drunk on the street in the world. And to them, that's not drunk too. The sober ones who say it to you like they're calling a dog fetch cunt. If I won the Nobel Prize and walked to the corner for milk, it would still be cunt. And when you got someone inside you who's loving you, it's still cunt. And the ones who'd die if they wasn't in you, you in particular, at least that night, at least to them, that time, that place, to them, it's still cunt. And they whisper it up close and chill the blood that's burning in you, and if you love them, it's still cunt. And you can love them so strong, you die for them, and it's still cunt. And your heartbeat and his heartbeat can be the same heartbeat, and it's still cunt. It's behind your back and it's to your face. The ones you know, the ones you don't. It's like if the N-word was a term of intimate endearment, not just used in lynching and insult, but whispered in lovemaking. Truth under the truth. The name under the name. Love's name for you. It's the same as what hate calls you. It's thugs, it's citizens, it's cops, it's strangers. It's the ones you want, the ones you deplore. You ain't allowed indifference. You have to decide on a relationship then and there, on the spot, because each one that pisses on you to let you know he's there. There's just some few you made love with, and you're still breathing tight with them. You can still feel their muscles swelling through their skin and bearing down on you, and you can still feel their weight, an urgent concentration of blood and bone, hot muscles spread over you, the burden of it sinking into you, a stone cliff into wet stone, and you're still tangled up in them. Good judgment aside, and it's physical, it's a physical memory in the body, not just the brain, barely in the brain at all. You got their sweat on you as part of your sweat, and their smell's a part of your smell, and you have an ache for them that's deep and gnawing and hurtful and more than your heart. And you still feel as if it's real and current now. How his body moves against you in convulsions that are awesome, like mountains moving slow, burdensome, big, and how you move against him as if you could move through him. He's the ocean, you're the tide, and it's still cunt. He says cunt. He's indelibly in you, and you don't want redemption so much as you want him. And it's still cunt. It's what's true. Andrea's the lie. It's a lie we got to tell, Jane and Judith and Ellen and whomever. It's our most desperate lie. My mother named me Andrea. It means manhood or courage. It means not cunt. She specifically said, not cunt. This one ain't cunt, she declared, after blood spilled and there was a pain of labor so intense that God didn't live through it. And wouldn't, which is why all the pain's with us. And she still brought herself to the point of concentration and said, not cunt. This one's someone. She probably had in mind a wish, a hope. Let her something, let her something. Don't. Not with this one. Just let this one through. Just don't do it to this one. She wrote, not cunt, a fiction, and it failed. And the failure defeated her and turned her cold to me. Because before I was even 10, some man had wrote, this one's cunt. And he took his fingers and he wrote it down on me. His fingers carved it in me. With a pain that stayed half buried there, it wasn't words, I had word for what he did. He wrote, I was cunt, the sweet little one who was what's called a child, but a female one, which changes it all. My mama showed that fiction was delusion, hallucination. It was a long, deranged lie designed to last past your own lifetime. The man, on the other hand, was a pragmatist, a maker of reality, a shaper of history, an orchestrator of events. He used life, not paper, bodies, not ink. The Nazis, of course, synthesized the two, bodies and ink. You can't even say it would solve the problem to have numbers on us, inked on. Numbers is as singular as names unless we were all zero. Zero. We could all be zero. My mother just made it up, and her fiction was a lie, almost without precedent, not recognized as original or great, a voyage of imagination. It was just a fucking lie. I don't want to tell lies. Not for moral reasons, but it's my idea of pride. You name it, I can take it. I was born in a city where the walls were falling down. I didn't see many solid walls. The streets were right next to you, it seemed, because you could always hear the buzz, the hum, the call, as if the drums were beckoning you to the tribal dance. You could see the freedom. Inside was small and constrained with rules designed to make you into some kind of trained cockroach, and outside was forever. A path straight to the heart of the world. There were no limits. It spread out in front of you to anywhere, with anyone. Limits were another lie. A social fiction all the zombies got together to tell. The destination was always the streets, because the destination was always freedom. Out from under. No rule. You could almost look through the brick, which was crumbling, and you had this sense that every building had holes in it, a transparency, and no walls were ever finished or ever lasted, and the cement outside was gray, cracked, streaked with blood from where they threw you down to have fun on hot nights and cold nights, the boys in their cars and knives. I knew some of those boys. I loved Nino, who said made love as if it was something real special and real nice and so fine, so precious and kind and urgent. His eyes burned and his voice was low and soft and silk. It wrapped itself around you. He didn't reach out. He didn't move toward you. You had to let him know. You had to. I could still fucking die for what he promised, and with his brilliant seduction, a poor, uneducated boy, he made fine lines of blood, delicate, and you didn't know if you were going to die, and you got to love danger. If you love the boy, and the danger never forsakes you, the boy leaves, but the danger is faithful. You knew the cement under you, and the brick around you, and the sound of the boys speeding by in their cars, and the sudden silence, which meant they were stalking you. I was born in Camden, down the street from where Walt Whitman lived on Mickle Street. He was the great gray poet, the prophetic hero of oceanic verse. Also not cunt. Great poet, not cunt. It's like a mathematical equation, but no one learns it in school by heart. It ain't written down plain on the blackboard. It's algebra for girls, but no one's going to teach you. You get brought down or thrown down, and you learn for yourself. There's no mother on earth can bear explain it. I can't write down what happened, and I can't tell lies. There's no words for what happened, and there's barely words for the lies. If I was a man, I would say something about fishing, and it would be a story, a perfectly fine one, too. The bait, the hook, the lake, the wind, the shore, and then everything else is the manly stuff. If I was a man, at least I'd know what to say. Or I'd say it so grand it wouldn't matter if it was true or not. Anyone would recognize it and say it was art. I could think of something important, probably, recognizably so. If I was a man and something happened, I could write it down, and probably it would pass as a story, even if it was true. Of course, that's just speculation. I'd swagger, too. If I was a man, I'm not too proud to say it, but I'm sure it's true. I'm not proud to say it, but I'm sure it's true. I would take big steps, loud ones, down the street. I could be the Zen master of fuck you. I would spread myself out and take up all the space and spread my legs wide open on the subway and take up 3 seats with my knees just like they do. I would be very bold and very cool. I'd be smarter than I am now, I'm sure, because what I knew might matter. And I'd remember more, I'm sure. I don't think I'd go near women, though, because I wouldn't want to hurt them. I know how everything feels. I think if I was a man in my heart, I would not hurt so much, and I wouldn't have this terror I am driven by, but cannot name. I think I could write a poem about it, perhaps. I think I could probably make a very long poem. And I could keep rewriting it to get every nuance right and chart it as it changed over time. A song of himself, perhaps. A sequel. Ginsberg says he chased Whitman through supermarkets. I fucking was him. I embraced all the generations without distinctions, and failed because of this awfulness, there is no name for. This great meanness at the heart of what they mean when they, at the heart of what they mean, I just don't know a remedy, because it is a sick and hostile thing. Even if there were no wars, I think I could say some perceptions I had about life. I wouldn't need the Civil War or the Vietnam War to hang my literary hat on, as it were. I could be loud, which I would try, I'm sure. I could call attention to myself as if I mattered, or what happened did, or as if I knew something, even about suffering, or even about life, and frankly, then it might count. I could stop thinking every minute about where each sound is coming from, and where the shadows are each minute. I can't even close my eyes now, frankly. But I think it's because I'm this whatever it is. You can have sophisticated words for it, but the fact is, you can be sleeping inside with everything locked, and they get in. In magazines they say women's got allure, or so they call it. But it's more like being some dumb wriggling thing that God holds out before them on a stick with a string. A fisher of men.